So this latest series, Learning and Living with Leukemia, is made on my mobile phone. So I'm splicing everything together on my mobile phone, so it won't have the great professional, not that any of my videos are very professional, but at least I've got a video program that sometimes helps me out while I'm in hospital. I don't have a laptop or anything, all I have is a mobile phone, so I'll be putting them together with that in, so keep that in mind when you see the series, but I want to bring some things in real time. So as you know, I'm going for a HAPLO transplant. It's in about 2 days time from the making of this particular video. That means that a relative, being my son in this case, which is a half match, and they splice it together pretty much with their grafting medications together. And some of the latest studies have showed that it's just as good as with a international or a national unrelated donor with a high match. So, and the reason why they're pushing it along these lines is because I have this added complication of leukemia AAL, so acute lymphoblastic leukemia with Philadelphia positive. Philadelphia positive just complicates things in that it brings back the leukemia, tends to come back faster, and there's a high recurrence of return of leukemia out of a remission. So that complicates, so it kind of like, if they get me in there earlier, then the leukemia sessions that I have and all the treatment I have can be a little bit lighter leading up to it. They can just keep that leukemia at bay so it doesn't come back and not damage as much as to my organs, because all chemo does attack the good cells with the bad cells. So the least damage they can do, the better. So it's quite a smart, intelligent strategy to move forward with. And that's where I'm grateful, I guess, that they're really putting their heads together. It's been explained out to me really well, and I'm thankful for that, because information is golden when you're going through here. If you don't have the information, then you tend to speculate and do the Google searches yourself, and that's not always helpful. So always ask for the information. If you're going through this, get the information you need and let them know that you're a person that likes information, so that you can get what you need, and it's transparent all from the beginning. Alright, so that's where we are, and that's how they'll be made whilst I'm in hospital. Videos, I say, not terribly professional, just spliced together on the mobile phone. Thanks, bye. So my daily routine has been like this. About 4 a.m. in the morning, they'll come and do the observations. That's your blood pressure, the temperature, and your pulse. So you'll be woken up for that to do that. Then they will come in again for your medications, probably about 7, 8 a.m. They'll come and do some blood tests. So they'll take some blood. That's going to be around the 8 a.m. again, or at least for me it was. Breakfast comes in at 7 a.m. That's kind of like a little bit too early for me, so it kind of sits there for a while. They'll come in also and give you a menu for the next day's breakfast as a separate, and then they will come in and weigh you within that time. That's probably around 8:30. So there's a chair that you come and sit in, you get weighed, and then about, I don't know, somewhere in that time as well, in that circle, and that separate person will come in just to do your beds, and your beds have to be done, so you have to step aside. So you've done all that by about 8:30. So it's pretty kind of interrupted morning. If you're a late sleeper, you might have to change some habits. It's a shame for me because I'm a late sleeper. So I've come out for coffee while I know that I've got chemo, about 10 a.m. the first chemo session will start. That'll be about an hour session. If there's a 2 chemo session, it's normally a 2 hour followed by a 1 hour followed by about a half an hour flush of the Hickmans that are attached, or the power line if you've got a power line attached. So that kind of happens. You get tests throughout the afternoon. Generally, for me, it's been a pretty clear afternoon, so my First visits that I've had. My wife and son are coming down, so I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll go for a walk in the afternoon. So that's the lead up. It's not too heavy to the lead up though. Tomorrow I do the full radio therapy, full body radiotherapy. I'm not sure what to expect. I've never had that before, so I expect that will lead me into the transplant, which happens on Tuesday. So the main things that I've been feeling in the lead up to the transplant is fatigue. When I was having 2 lots of chemo each day, I was certainly feeling fatigue. Yesterday, the day before, it was hard to get out of bed and get up, but I made myself get up and do some exercise, because any exercise is a bonus when I'm going into the transplant, which is going to keep me probably more close to the bed as I become neutropenic and my immune system is brought down. Then I won't be able to go out and do the things that I'm doing right now, at least not that I expect. So they're the main things. I'm starting to get sore arms. I'm getting needle jabbed quite a lot for all the tests. The medications, they're very varied depending on what my blood levels are like. I'll get a cocktail of medications, and that sort of has its way as well. But yeah, doing all right, all things considering. Hi folks, it's 2 days to go to bone marrow transplant. I've been in here for 5 days now. I've had 2 lots of chemos each day for the first 3, and then I've backed down to 1 lot in the final 2. Lots of medications, lots of daily interruptions with medications and everything, but predominantly it's been pretty good and light on because of the type of bone marrow transplant that I'm having. And I probably need to explain that. I'm doing a HAPLO transplant. That is a half-match transplant. It is a relative transplant. So it's not my siblings, my brother and sister, who were ruled out because of medical reasons. It's my son that is going to be my transplant donor, which I'm just so incredibly thankful for giving me that chance. Now, he's considered a HAPLO, which is a half match, so a 50%. So with the medical science and what they have today, they can very much match with all of their bridging, grafting medications that they have to meet the gap. And in actual fact, the doctors, the hematologists had informed me that they've just seen and been reading a new paper that's been published. I don't know the exact published paper, so I can't quote that, but saying that the HAPLO is as good, just as good, not better than being matched as a unrelated donor, say out in the International Donor Registry. So that is a good thing. And also they're saying that they've just been to a conference and that was their talk. So it's at the cutting edge of science here as far as the knowledge is saying. So it's really good for me because they've gone to this strategy as opposed to waiting for maybe an international match strategy, because I have the added complication to my leukemia. It's Philadelphia positive, which is a chromosome that's gone adrift. And basically it's the 9 and 22 chromosome, and they've caused a mutation that causes blasts of the bone marrow, constant blasts that are immature and continue immature, and if they're allowed to continue would just overtake my whole system. What the Philadelphia positive does, it brings back leukemia faster. When you go into remission, it has a higher risk of coming back, so bringing it back. So for me, the importance was to get me to the bone marrow transplant as soon as possible, mild the trip. So that is, I had 2 lots of chemotherapy, induction therapy, then have secondary induction. They were both 28 days. And then I had 2 lots of 14 days chemotherapy, followed by some holding over to this point now. Now that was, though it was heavy, and this was heavy, it's not as heavy as what they could go, because they're trying to keep the organs in as much in place with as least damage to get me through to this bone marrow transplant. So what happens is, now through this chemotherapy that I've been having, and tomorrow I'm having a full radiation therapy, so my whole body, full radiation therapy, but a mild, not as heavy as they can go again. That is in order to kill now the bone marrow that I have and my immune system, because the next day, the very next day, so that's in 2 days time, the very next day I'll be taking on my son's bone marrow. They will be like a 25% injection, and then that will quickly duplicate itself and create a whole new immune system and a whole new bone marrow. And it's the job of that bone marrow, which is unpolluted, that is un-leukemia polluted, to attack any remaining leukemia. Now, I had a really positive sign from my hematologist. My last biopsy of my bone marrow came back very positive, in that it's been slowly going down from 0.035 to 0. They want it down before they go into a bone marrow to 0.01 or less. And my last test came in at 0.007, vastly under what they need it to be. So that is a great positive sign. The other great wonderful sign is that here I am. I have cleaves through. Yes, I've had a little bit of nausea. Yes, I've had some fatigue 2 days where I really just didn't want to get out of bed. I had to force myself to exercise, because exercise is really important. Really important in this stage. Drinking water is really important. So out of that, I've come there in good stead, and in no measure of thanks to all my supporters and all the people that have been my morale and urging on. And I particularly want to thank Martine, who has been my mentor. She's been through it a year before me. She's coming up to her first birthday, the bone marrow transplant birthday, which is fantastic, just fantastic. Given me so many tips in coming into hospital, so I was fully prepared for the tips I want to pass on to you. Just fantastic, and I really need to thank and acknowledge her for all the support and all the preemptive tips she's given me. A couple of tips in coming in here. One of the tips that she gave me, which has been really good, is to bring your own blanket, because you never know the temperature. There's central cooling in the system and it's a bit cold, and like Martine, I've got a vent right over my bed, so this extra blanket was really good. She just said to me, maybe think about bringing scales. I did that. So they come in with these wheelie scales. It's an actual seat that you sit on, and they measure your weight every day. Do that without fail. Also got your own scales. You know, you can keep tabs on your weight. You're going to try to hold your weight before you hit the bone marrow transplant, because you tend to go down and lose your immune system, and that can cause loss of appetite. You're going to have a tube in your nose, which I'll get post-transplant, a feeding tube, just in case there's any complications. Chances are you're going to lose a lot of weight. I think Martine lost 10 to 20 kilo. I'm expecting something similar. So I've got a bit of weight on me at the moment, and hopefully I'll come out looking like Superman. We'll see how that goes. Another thing is bring your own pillow. Nothing more comforting than a nice soft pillow, which I did do. I even brought my knee pillow, which sits between my knees in the night, just to help some comfort. Anything that's going to make you comfort. Anything like, anything from your underwear to your tracksuit pants, or anything soft materials, soft clothing. And I recommend to you, because you never know what it's going to be like. And because I work in the public servants, and we tend to have pretty terrible toilet roll in our public toilets, and that it's the same brand that's here. So I asked my wife to bring along some toilet roll, because they tell you all the time you're going to have diarrhea. And okay, soft toilet roll is probably a plus. So Sorry I had to mention that, but it's a good tip. The other thing is drink lots of water. That was the tip I was given. If you don't drink it, they're going to plug you in and intravenously go fluid. So if you can do yourself, you're going to be a little bit independent, a bit longer. So drink water, folks. Okay, so I'm drinking my water. Okay, I'm getting it down. Take some of the proteins they might give you, so the nutritionist will come along. They'll give you some advice about nutrition. They'll put you on a bit different diet maybe. They'll add some protein shakes, yogurts, drinks to your meals. Yes, take them. The hospital meals, they try to vary it up, but you know, they can be a bit bland. If you get like I am, independent of the triangle, because I don't have to be hooked up all the time, go out and grab something, but keep your social distancing, keep your mask on, take your space, okay? Because you're not possibly not going to get it. I don't know what tomorrow is going to hold. Tomorrow I have a full body radiation. I don't know yet how that will affect me. And from then on, I have the bone marrow transplant. My son comes in tomorrow at 8 a.m. He's here for 4 to 6 hours doing the transplant. They're extracting it from the blood, goes out one arm into a centrifugal machine, spins it out, separates the bone marrow, the stem cell from the blood, and the blood goes back in the other arm. But he sits and he'll probably have to do that for 4 to 6 hours. And let me tell you, he's had to make some pains. He's had some ailments as a result. You know, that's part. He has a medication. That's a needle that goes, that he self-medicates to himself for a few days. And that goes on for a few days. And that stimulates a lot more bone marrow, so it flows off into his blood so it can be collected. Other than that, folks, it's been a real ride. It's been a real ride, that's for sure. But the good thing is I'm in great stead going into it, and I'm feeling positive thanks to a lot of you that have helped me out and have supported me and been with me along this journey the whole way. And hopefully I'll come out the other side like, a bit like Superman, or be a gold star student. I hope so. Anyway, be for victory.